Facing an unplanned pregnancy can be the greatest moment of a young woman's life, but often one of the most frightening. Where do you turn in those first few days when you aren't sure what to do? Hopefully, a place like Bethany's house for a safe and caring place to think. More about Bethany Christian Services when we return.
I was shocked. I had no idea how this could have happened to me. I heard it in stories, I've seen it in movies, but I never thought that it would be me.
And sadly, what I've come to realize is that even women within a church community don't feel safe. But for many women, it's really a crisis. And for women in a crisis situation, there needs to be the support of her community to help her make a life-affirming choice. And that's what Bethany does.
When I first talked to them, that was the first idea that I had, that there was another option, which is adoption. And at the time, I wasn't really open to the idea, but Bethany was very willing to just walk with me through the process, no matter what decision that I made.
Welcome back. Of every 200 women facing an unplanned pregnancy, Bethany Christian Services reports that about 50% will choose to parent their baby. Approximately half will terminate their pregnancy, and less than 1% will make an adoption plan. Colleen Marquez, Director of Outreach for the San Francisco Bay Area, talks about Bethany Christian Services and her own adoption experience. And later, we have the wonderful opportunity to meet a young woman who chose life for her baby through Bethany's house. So glad you're with us today.
Thank you.
It can be frightening when you first find out that you are pregnant.
It is very frightening, especially when you thought you had your future planned ahead of you. And
right, college student.
Yeah, college student.
High school student.
High school.
Possibly later in your life, but you're working and you have to support that family.
A pregnancy should be a time where you're overjoyed at beginning a new family, but for many women it's really a crisis. And for women in a crisis situation, there needs to be the support of her community to help her make a life-affirming choice. And that's what Bethany does.
And that's, Bethany Christian Services does not condemn.
No,
I want to make that clear at first.
We want to help.
Your choice is your choice.
Right. Women have the right to make whatever choice they want to do. And Bethany wants women to feel supported. We, of course, hope that a woman will choose life, and we want her to feel fully supported in whatever she chooses, in whatever way she goes. And unfortunately, many women can't even imagine any other option other than parenting or abortion. For many and most people, there's not, the idea of adoption is not even really an option.
Well, it takes me back 23 years now, 24 years now, to when I realized I was pregnant with my daughter, Kristen. And I had my husband, but I remember in those first few moments, and we were wanting a child, but still in those first few moments, it's like, wow, this is different. There's just something that happens to you. And some people don't have a safe place to go in that experience.
It's true, and sadly, what I've come to realize is that even women within a church community don't feel safe in their church community to make a choice towards parenting or adoption. It's just an inconceivable
thing to discuss with someone. Yeah. Well, for instance, let's say 18-year-old, maybe 16-year-old. What's the first thing that goes through their mind, usually?
Well, it's hard for me to remember back then, but it's been our experience that most women will turn to their mothers or their friends, and depending on the choices of or the sentiment of their mothers or their friends, that really has a great deal of influence in their life.
And we did say that a woman at any age can kind of be afraid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It could be a woman who's had several children already, and she's in her late 30s, and there may be a situation in her life where this pregnancy is very, very unexpected. And so it runs the gamut for any woman who is of childbearing age. An unexpected pregnancy can be a very big crisis.
you know this firsthand through Bethany Services, but you also have your own experience.
Yes. Well, I come to Bethany because of my experience as an adoptive mother and coming through the opposite side where I wanted to become pregnant and couldn't become pregnant. That's my experience. And
how long did you try?
We tried 4.5 years after we were married. And
there's a lot of anguish in that.
Oh, tremendous amount, yeah. We didn't, I thought I could do, that wouldn't be a problem after a year of not trying to get pregnant,
right.
Thinking pregnancy would be easy. It just wasn't.
So did you look at other women when they, I'm pregnant, I just want to,
It was very painful. It was very painful. I thought after actually 6 months that there might be a problem, and I avoided baby showers and...
Oh, you avoided baby showers.
Oh, yeah. It was very painful. So the fact that other women were becoming pregnant all around was really a hardship. And
you thought, what's wrong with me?
Right.
Am I...
Right. What's wrong with me? And yet I never even thought about adoption on that side. So adoption wasn't even an option.
Okay. So how old are your kids? Tell me about your kids.
Gabrielle is 20 and Isaac is 11.
All right.
Yeah.
And you were able to adopt?
Yes, we were able to adopt.
All right. I want to hear more about that. We have to go to a break. And then Miranda Lee will be with us.
Oh, yes. She is a woman who made an adoption plan for her daughter. Oh, she's got a great story.
Can't wait to hear.
Yeah.
Miranda Lee once stood at the front door of Bethany's house. She has agreed to share her story with us, so don't go away.
I couldn't deny my Christian roots.
Right.
Something inside of me was just telling me, hey, you got to think about this. It's not just a black and white answer here.
I met a woman who was adopted, and she said that she didn't know her birth families at all, and she said growing up in her family was like growing up in a house without mirrors. For her, she didn't have any way of looking at a picture to say, oh, those are my grandmother's eyes, or so it's so important, that identity. I've also just come to realize just how important it is when we nurture our children's roots, we are actually esteeming them.
Welcome back. We're here now with birth mom Miranda Lee, and we're so glad you are here with us. I can't even tell you. But I want to finish up with Colleen really quickly. So is your life more blessed to have these two precious children in your life?
Oh, amazing. I'm the mom that I always dreamed and hoped and prayed to be. But I think being an adoptive mother has an element, a new layer that is just really dear, that I never expected. I never expected the relationship that we would have with our birth families. And that was something, when we first tried to adopt, we were only looking to adopt a baby. But we had no idea that the richness of relationship and how important that relationship would be to our children and to our families.
So, and this is an open adoption?
Yes.
All right, so you do have a relationship with the birth moms.
Yes.
Do they participate in birthdays?
They are in our lives. It's just really rich and beautiful. And what I've found, sadly, in many other families.
Yes, I understand. I think I can think of somebody we both know who doesn't know who his birth parents are, and he has spent years trying to figure out, who am I? Who are my parents? You know, I know who my adoptive parents are, but, you know, I'd like to thank my mother for having me. So in your circumstance, your children know the birth moms, and they know you, so it's a very rich life.
Yes. I was thinking just now as you were saying that, I met a woman who was adopted, and she said that she didn't know her birth families at all, and she said growing up in her family was like growing up in a house without mirrors. For her, she didn't have any way of looking at a picture to say, oh, those are my grandmother's eyes, or so it's so important, that identity. I've also just come to realize just how important it is when we nurture our children's roots, we are actually esteeming them at a very, very deep level.
And I think we can say, Miranda, that we consider you, on that note, very courageous.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, you found yourself pregnant. Were you, and you weren't married?
No.
Okay. Let me not put words in your mouth. Tell me your experience. What's the first thing you thought of, and how old were you?
So I was just in my last quarter at college, and I was 20 years old.
Oh gosh, just about to graduate?
Yeah. And I took the pregnancy test, and it was positive, and I was shocked. I had no idea how this could have happened to me. I heard it in stories, I've seen it in movies, but I never thought that it would be me. So when I found out, I called my boyfriend at the time and I told him, and his immediate first reaction was, "That's fine, we'll take care of it." And what he meant was, "We'll get an abortion."
Right.
So from that point, I kind of agreed with him. I could not imagine a life otherwise.
Did you feel rejected by him? Did you feel, did you want the baby at first, or you just didn't know?
Yes. I was raised in a Christian home, but I wasn't really practicing my beliefs at that time.
Which happens at college.
Yes, very much
that can happen a lot.
Yeah, but I couldn't deny my Christian roots.
Right.
Something inside of me was just telling me, hey, you got to think about this. It's not just a black and white answer here.
Yes.
But the two options that I felt were at hand, like Colleen mentioned, were just parenting or abortion.
Wow.
And I didn't see anything in between that.
Wow. Okay, so what happened?
So
You had the baby.
I did, but there was a long process to get
What
to that
happened?
decision.
Tell us about it.
So first of all, I confided in a few people other than my boyfriend at the time. One of them was my mother.
Oh, okay.
And she played such a big role.
Make you feel good.
Such a big role. And one of the things that Colleen said that really spoke to me was that the whole idea of support during this time of an unplanned pregnancy. If I didn't have my mother there to walk me through the whole way, I probably would not have gone through with what I did.
Wow.
And the biggest thing that she did for me was to allow me to make my own decision, but to support me in any way that I decided to choose. And I have to say that it was a journey for herself too, not just for me.
I'm sure.
Her as a mother, wanting to support me, afraid of the shame that it might bring me and our family. And she had to go through her own journey as well, but at the end, she supported me every step of the way.
Right. Well, yeah, she sent her daughter off to school to get an education just about out, and then this is the news. Not like, Mom, I graduated early. This is the news. So she had to adjust as well.
Yes.
But thankfully, she adjusted in a way
Yes.
that worked really well for all of you.
Definitely.
All right. So then you ended up on Bethany Services steps?
Yes, I did. So one of the first things that my mom suggested that I do when I was pregnant was to get in touch with Focus on the Family.
Yes.
And get some resources from them on what to do. So they pointed us to a bunch of different organizations in the Bay Area, and one of them was Bethany. So when I first talked to them, that was the first idea that I had, that there was another option, which is adoption. And at the time, I wasn't really open to the idea, but Bethany was very willing to just walk with me through the process, no matter what decision that I made.
Yeah.
So once I came back from college for the summer, I was seeing a lot of people around in my neighborhood, old friends, people that knew our family, and they started seeing that I was pregnant.
Yes.
And I felt really discouraged and ashamed. And so Bethany offered a house in Modesto, which was about 2 hours away from where I was living, where I could stay and have food, and people take me to my doctor's appointments and just take care of me and love me through the rest of my process. So I decided to move there and finish off my pregnancy.
What happened to the feeling of shame?
So once I went there, I felt very loved. Everybody there was always asking me how they could help, how I was doing, and I just didn't have to deal with all of the pressure at home.
Had you decided yet if you were going to keep the baby?
At the time, I knew I was going to keep the baby, but I was deciding between parenting and adoption.
Okay, so much to cover with you. We have to go to a break. I see a beautiful wedding ring on
Yes.
this hand. So there's more to this story. So can't wait to hear the rest, more when we return.
Such an ingrained experience in me. It's a part of who I am. It's the reason for where I am today. I have absolutely no regrets about the plan that I made through adoption with Hope. And the only thing that I've gotten through the experience is completely blessed. And everybody involved in the situation has been blessed. I never would have thought that it was possible for me to have the life that I do today, but I do, and I have more than I could have ever asked for.
welcome back. Miranda, I just can't wait to hear the rest. So tell us about your child, girl or boy.
It's a girl. Her name's Hope.
And how old is Hope?
She's going to be 10 this year in November.
10?
Yes.
So you, in the last segment, we talked about the fact you were going to maybe keep your baby.
Right.
Okay. What happened?
So I ended up going with the adoption plan. I was at Bethany and they had binders of parents and adoptive parents that I could look through to see a little bit about their family and see what would be the best fit for me as well as my baby.
So at that time you were 20, maybe 21, and you weren't really sure. The boyfriend, I'm assuming, is like gone.
Well, he was out of the picture, yes.
Out of the picture, all right, which happens.
Yes, it does.
Bring that up. So
Yes.
he's gone. And you're thinking, am I really going to be able to provide for this baby? And then you see all these homes of people who are waiting to provide a home and a nurturing environment.
Yes.
So then you thought that might be a way to go.
Definitely, because I worked so hard in college and I wanted to have a career. I wanted to carry on with my life without feeling guilty or the need to be held back for any reason. And this was the best option for both myself, and I knew it was the best for my baby.
All right, so you selected a family?
I did, yes, and their names are Susan and Alex Van Riesen, and they live in Palo Alto.
They do?
Yes,
All right.
so it's pretty close by. We have a great relationship. I definitely see them for birthdays and more. Sometimes if they're in a church play, I'll go by.
Really?
Yeah, and just, you know, sometimes I'll take them out for ice cream or just like normal everyday things.
So Hope, when you see Hope, does she come running to give you a hug?
Definitely, yes, yes. And she's known from a very young age that I am her birth mother, but that she also has her adoptive mother. And in their family, it's actually very interesting because they have 2 adopted and 1 natural.
Okay.
And in their family, it's more normal to be adopted than it is to be a natural birth.
Do you embrace all 3 of the children?
Yes, yes. So the 2, one of them is a special needs. So I see him, but we don't have as much of a connection. And the other 2 are younger daughters, and they're only a year apart. That's Hope and her sister Anna. And I almost feel like they're both my daughters because I'm so close with them.
Do you see things that remind you of, or remind her of you?
Yes, definitely. She's got this go-getter attitude and personality, and she's sporty and she's just enthusiastic and she loves life, and I see a lot of that in myself growing up, so I definitely see it in her as well.
You enjoy seeing her grow?
Yes, definitely.
All right, you're married.
Yes, I am.
All right.
We got married in September of 2013.
It was the most beautiful wedding. Oh my gosh, I got to be there, and oh my goodness, it was a fairy tale wedding, and it was just so beautiful. It was victorious, and I cried.
Yeah. One of the things I was really afraid of going through this whole process was that there would not be a man that would love me for everything that I had been through, and the experiences that I had already been through. But I found him, and we have a great marriage, and he loves me exactly the way that I am.
And does he see Hope?
Yes, he does. He comes
does.
with me to visit her.
And are you planning on having kids with your husband?
Yes, hopefully.
And Hope will know that she has a baby brother or a baby sister.
Yeah, she's actually already told her parents that she can't wait to have a half brother or half sister.
Can you imagine your life without Hope?
No, it's such an ingrained experience in me. It's a part of who I am. It's the reason for where I am today. I have absolutely no regrets about the plan that I made through adoption with Hope. And the only thing that I've gotten through the experience is completely blessed. And everybody involved in the situation has been blessed.
Yeah.
So I'm just so thankful that God allowed me to make this decision and supported me with all the people in Bethany through the process.
Had you decided abortion, she wouldn't be there.
Nope, not
It'd
at
be
all.
empty.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can't imagine ever even considering that option after what I've gone through.
Would you recommend this to other young women?
Yes, yes. And I've actually walked with and counseled a few other women through unplanned pregnancies. And it's a tough thing to deal with, but there's redemption in every situation that seems full of despair and chaos and confusion. And I never would have thought that it was possible for me to have the life that I do today. But I do, and I have more than I could have ever asked for.
You know, I've interviewed women who have been through an abortion, and there's a different look in their eyes at times. You know, I've got to just say, from my perspective, a different look. You look peaceful.
Definitely.
And happy.
I am very happy.
And I'm assuming some of that is attributed to your 10-year-old daughter.
Yes, yes, very much so.
All right. So Bethany Service is they provide the house, which you participated in, which I think is fantastic. And that service is open to any young woman, right?
Yes, 18 and over, yes. Yes, and it's not just the maternity home. Most of their clients do not come through Bethany House to receive the maternity housing, but Bethany connects women to their community resources, like the pregnancy center for all of the medical.
And we can get more information on the site.
Absolutely.
Okay, 30 seconds. Miranda, I got a question for you. When Hope, your beautiful daughter, goes to college, are you gonna say anything to her specifically?
I haven't really thought that far, but on the fly, I actually don't know. I haven't really thought that much about that.
But you'll share your experiences,
yes,
probably.
whenever she is ready to talk about any of the serious issues for what happened, I will just let her know that I'm in her life because she is deeply loved. I didn't give her up because I didn't want her. The reason I kept her and gave her to a wonderful family is because she is so treasured in my eyes and her family and in God's eyes.
Well, I thank you so much for being here today, Miranda, and you as well, Colleen.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
having us.
Thank you.
There is not a situation you can find yourself in that God cannot penetrate and see you through. Call or email and let us pray with you. And for more information on today's topic, or to find out how easy it is to find out more about Bethany Christian Services in a confidential setting, go to www.adoptionplace.org or ktln.tv. Also remember, we are a donor-supported ministry, and programs like this one are made possible through your support. Join us again next week.